Yo, 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 what's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Nate the Great coming at you with another live. You already know if you're new to the channel, like, share, comment, and subscribe. To all the returning friends and family, you already know it's peace and blessings. I'm gonna give y'all a little bit of time to tune in case these notifications ain't go out. First things first, you already know. Hopefully, everybody having a blessed and productive Friday. TGIF. TGIF. Hopefully everybody's smoothly getting through their work day. For those who got plans for the weekend, yes, we still in the heat wave, especially for those in the city. Keep yourselves hydrated and cool. Try to keep you some wet rags with you just to be on the safe side. And for those who might be celebrating birthday weekends, hopefully y'all have a blessed weekend all in all. Keep yourself safe as always. Another year, another blessing around the sun. You know how it goes. Popcorn, what's going on, my guy? Appreciate everybody that tuned in yesterday for the conversation. Definitely was a great topic of discussion. Definitely one I'll probably be revisiting at some point. If you missed it, you definitely catch the replay. They're gonna be a little bit not different, but a little more precaution tales basically. I want to say this for some of you young men and some of you young women out there. Again, be mindful of the people that you place in your circle. Make sure that these people are actually for you and don't want to see your demise. Um, the reason being said that is because I watched a video that kind of threw me off. And it threw me off because it's like these is youngins, you know. Yeah, even if these was adults and this situation happened, still shouldn't have happened in the first place. That quote unquote setup game, that sucker is played out. And for some of y'all, you're gonna put yourselves in the wrong predicaments. It'll be your luck you decide to do something to somebody and you don't know that person tied up, mob tied up or whatever, and now you got a mark on your head. Two young boys with these young girls. I don't know if this was a hotel or if this was a apartment complex. But the fact that when you look at the video, you can see that they're laughing, like it's didn't make sense. They laughing, they getting ready to go in the door. The two boys walking behind them, and then there's two other guys behind them putting guns to their head. And this is what I'm saying. These dudes still look young as shit. You know, like you don't know what kind of irreparable damage it could do to some people. You know, some people are really not gonna be on shaky grounds after everything is said and done. You know, some people are gonna be ready to retaliate. And God forbid if it would have got worse, then what?
Are you waiting for people to come here?
No, 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 no.
No, I'm just trying to see if it's space for me to barbecue over here. That's all.
Oh, no, I ain't gonna be over here
All
too
right, thank
long.
you.
I'm over here just podcasting. That's it. Serious, what's going on, baby? EPB, what's going on, my guy? Hammer, what's going on, baby? Yeah, nah, you just got to think about this. Think about this real good. Young fellas, stop thinking on the lines of just trying to get some fair play, basically. Because you don't know what kind of situation you could put yourself into. What you think could be about fun and games could be a risk at your life. I've always felt like this. When you sit here and you take advantage, basically, of a situation, especially when you got people that probably not there or probably not hip to it, that's the worst thing you can do. Because again, you know, You don't know who these people are tied to. You don't know if these people have, you know, some form of credibility out there. Uh-huh. Beat you to the punch, young lady. Now give me 20 laps around these YouTube streets. Let's go. No, but you got to remember that part right there. It is essential for y'all to pay attention to your backgrounds, pay attention to the people, and actually start reading not just body language, but just reading things in general. And if something don't feel right, a lot of times you really have to follow your gut. Again, that's for you men and you women out there. There's some who have been in situations where they almost could have been another victim. But in that case right there, they was able to follow their gut and just do what was necessary. You know, again, you gotta preserve yourself at all costs. It's unfair that some people think they probably going with the notion of having fun. They probably thinking they going on any type of adventure. That's not an adventure. Getting robbed, getting set up, almost murdered. That's not no that's not something that should be celebrated. Honestly, I'm sorry, but there's some people that think that setting people up, trying to get an easy lick, that's gonna be, that's always gonna be the route to getting something. No, at some point, the setup artists end up getting set up. Don't forget that part. Karma does come largely. You know, even if you ain't hurting nobody, right? Guess what? It still doesn't matter. What you're doing is putting yourself under a dangerous light. Because again, that's like somebody recognizing you, recognizing that you did something. You think they ain't gonna try to get that get back? Especially if they was looking forward to that situation. Hopefully those young men are okay. Hopefully they learned something from this experience too. Because again, I think it's unfair, especially when they're young like that. My thing is, instead of you trying to set your own people up, and this is what gets me more mad, you setting up your own people. You ain't even setting up the people that's setting y'all up for failure, but you quick to set on your own brothers and sisters. And sorry, this is a public service announcement to the community right now. There's some of y'all that really need to start picking your battles wisely. Because again, if you could do that to your own melanated brother or sister, why are you not taking that same energy out with people that's doing it to you? And I'm sorry, but I know that had to be a scary experience. A gun being put to your head as soon as you walk into somebody's house. And it could have got worse. Because who knows what was essentially taken from them. All you seen was just them going, and that was it. Video got cut short. So it's very, very critical for a lot of y'all to think about certain things. Even if you are going to meet up with somebody or you're going to do whatever, like prime example, you should meet up somewhere in a fair space, in a halfway space. Keep yourself safe as possible, especially if something don't feel right. And I could tell, like, from that situation, these dudes probably thought, okay, we got ourselves a nice little time. We about to school, or we probably just about to chill out, hang out with the chicks we done bagged up. And then here it goes. And then here you go. And then here you go. It's a situation like that. My fault, y'all. Then here you go. It's a situation like that. Now it's getting dangerous. Miss Chicago, what's going on, baby? And I would say that to all the young men and women out there all around the world. If you think something don't seem right, Especially if you're supposed to be linking up with somebody, follow your gut instincts. 9 out of 10, it'll serve your purpose and it'll keep you safe no matter what. But it's sad because these girls laughed like this was funny. It's not funny because now what if something would have transpired and either one of them boys would have got unalived or both? Or that's just saying if it was a scuffle and everybody got hit. That ain't something to laugh about. Near death experience, nothing to laugh at. Fellas, be careful when you trying to deal with some of these women. Even if you are on the single and mingle tip, you still need to be careful of who you linking up with, who you going to do things with. And in the event that anything shoot, they should be able to meet. If you dealing with somebody, they should be able to meet the people that you know. Point blank, period. That's the best form of safety. Just in case of anything. Well, last time, if anything does happen, God forbid, well, you got more than a few people that could say, well, I know he was dealing with this person. Again, it'll stop a lot of nonsense from happening, at least in my opinion. Again, be careful of what you're doing. You know, and again, the setup artists end up getting set up at some point. You know, there's some of y'all that think you're gonna keep getting away scot free. You think nothing can happen to you. At some point, you get stopped. Chip, what's going on, my guy? You already know if y'all just tuned in, hit the like button. But just like even with scammers, they end up getting scammed too. And it's sad because regardless to what, nobody's expecting to meet up with somebody thinking y'all gonna have a great time and then that thing happens. Just that quick. I've always felt like this. You meeting somebody you ain't meet nobody like they friends or someone along their family line, don't waste your time. Why? Because you never know what could happen. And if something does happen, God forbid, nobody will know. Again, you want to keep yourself preserved as safe as possible. For the young fellas, don't go with that mindset thinking it's just going to be an easy score and an easy whatever, because that's not always the case. Denise, baby. And again, you got to remember this part and solely remember this. Your preservation is the most important thing out of anything. Like on the real, you have to make sure that everything is going according. You meet somebody, y'all might be serious for a little bit, or you could be thinking you serious. You still need to at some point meet somebody that they know. And I'm sorry, but that's a fearful thing for anybody. It's the same thing with some women. Some women think they're going to meet up with these dudes and get set up by the dudes' girlfriends and stuff like that. Like, it's things like that you got to be mindful of and careful of for real. I've always said this: do an extensive background on somebody if you have to. I don't care if you gotta do your own observations and stuff. Do it because somebody could be lying to you, telling you that they single, but then meanwhile they with somebody. And you got some of these quote unquote couples that are prone and known to either be scamming or stealing or setting people up. Those are the people you gotta be mindful for. And in all honesty, that's just trifling and sad because again, that time and energy you wasting trying to quote unquote catch a victim, you could have been trying to catch an opportunity out there for yourself. Give me a second, y'all. Yeah, my fault. Trying to avoid a copyright. It's gonna be one of those days. It's about 90 something right now, y'all. So for those in the city, try to keep yourself cool. Try to definitely keep yourself full of water and all. But you gotta remember this part though. Young fellas, don't think you just going for an easy come up or for easy whatever. 'Cause you never know. Again, if you don't really take the time to evaluate these women you trying to put around you, it's the same thing with you women. If you're not evaluating what you're supposed to with these men, you never know what could be the setup. You never know what could be the trap all in all. So again, you gotta remind yourself of that. You know, and that's the problem. We don't think a lot of times. But even as parents, you have to teach that to your children to just be mindful and be careful of their surroundings. If something just don't seem right, don't feel right, follow your gut instinct. Oh, you already know, serious baby. I got my damn ice water sitting in my book bag. I ain't playing. Shoot. You just got to remember this part. Um, Solely about just keeping your mind open and also keeping your mind aware of everything that's going on around you. Sometimes y'all think it's a golden opportunity when certain things present itself, but it might not always be a golden opportunity. You just got to remember that part. It shouldn't just be about hormones and lust at that moment. It's more about your awareness and trust. Do I trust this person well enough to go into an area where I could be uncomfortable? Or even if I'm sort of uncomfortable, do I trust this person enough for my safety before I decide to go do anything? You got to be careful. Like there's been stories of people who thought they was going to have a night out in the town, and yeah, they got a night out in the town, all right, strapped up to a bed and everything else, and robbed cold blind. So you got to remember that part. You do not want to be the victim of circumstance having some form of a weapon aimed at you. But again, don't put yourself in that form of a situation. You know, it's just like these young women. Y'all want to be with some of these dudes so badly, or you want to try to test these dudes so badly, but you don't know if they dealing with somebody, and sometimes they could be dealing with somebody that's crazy. So now you're not just going to have some form of an issue. You're going to have some form of a beef. Again, the game shouldn't be ran on people who ain't in the game at all, basically. That quote unquote easy come up, especially thinking you getting a lick off somebody that's, you know, basically not about that. That's corny. And at some point, you're going to reap what you sow, basically. Because it'll just take you that one time to think you're going to do some form of setup like that, things go south. And now you either got to be on the run or you end up getting caught before you can even get anywhere. Cool game. What's going on, my guy? You just got to think. You know, sole purpose of life is to enjoy life. Yeah, you're going to go through your experiences, but those traumatic experiences shouldn't be one of them. And then for these young men right now, like I said, that's a traumatic experience. Having a gun pointed at their head, thinking they about to hang out with some friends, thinking they about to just have a good time. You got to really be careful of the circle that you put around you at all times. You never know what's going on and if they even plot. Now I know, Denise. I know. Asking somebody to think is like breaking their arms to a degree. And the reason why I say that is because, again, you should be thinking about your overall safety more than anything. Because ain't nobody else going to think about it. Appreciate you for dropping those links, serious baby. Working harder than this damn sun on my back, baby. But yeah, always keep yourself, you know, within a good distance of safety. You never know. God forbid you might have to battle out of something. Hey, at least you know you prepared and you ready to, go to war in case. Things if things don't seem right, prime example, if you think somebody could be dealing with somebody, then you need to really ask questions and actually do investigations. Because some people could say, yeah, I'm not dealing with nobody and still be lying right to your face. You know? And that right there be a problem. Like I said, just imagine thinking you dealing with somebody and then come to find out they married or they been married longer than 5 years or so. That's not a good look, you know. Oh no, it's a whole fact. You already know that, Denise. I mean, cause come on now. If you, like I said, you living by the gun, at some point you gonna die by the gun. Like I said, because again, you're making dangerous decisions that don't need to be made. Shay, what's going on, baby? Again, happy Friday to everybody that's pulling in. Again, that's why I say you parents got to start making sure your kids are learning what they need to learn. Yeah, they're gonna go through their experiences, but guess what? You still got to give them some form of blueprint or some form of safety protocol how to deal with such. Again, no young child or no young teen should have to worry about being held up at gunpoint and robbed when they thought they was going out to have a good time with some people. You know, that's why I said parents be careful because again, even if your kids are out and about, you being lenient to the degree and letting them explore and let them whatever, you still need to make sure they being safe. You know, and honestly, what's sad about it is because some of these people who are doing those specific crimes, guess what? They've never been a victim of that type of situation. Because I believe if they was, they would have enough sense to say, nah, because this could blow back even on my family. Let me chill out. You know, you have to be careful again. You got to stop thinking irrational. Start thinking more logical. You know, that's just like even if you did pick up somebody right then and there, or you ended up talking to somebody right then and there, you still don't know that person like that to say, hey, you know what you doing tonight? Let's go do this. Them one night is to a degree. If you ain't knowing that person, trust me, you'll find out the hard way. There's some people who really thought they was going to get lucky and score, and they didn't score at all. Only thing they scored was embarrassment, robbery. In some cases, some of them didn't even make it back. Things went wrong. Things gone south. You need to get to know people before you think you trying to get up in their skins, basically. And just sit there and make an irrash decision. Again, you young fellas have to learn that. Some of these girls you think is all cute and smiles, they down for the setups, they down for the BS, so on and so forth. Trust me, they are. And that's something that you should be aware of. And again, if you look at that damn video, it's like they was really snickering and laughing. But see, like I said, karma does come back. Those same women that was being a part of this setup, at some point they'll get set up. Sorry to say it that way, but it's not good. And that's why I said when it's all said and done, parents teach these kids what you need to teach them. Safety, oh no. Even if you are coming across new people, still teach them how to be safe. Teach them how to defend themselves in case if something does go wrong. And if they are in a real tight situation, teach them that it's okay to call the authorities or do what's necessary. Again, it's about preservation of life. And honestly, yeah, karma does come back. Look how many stories of people who was out here doing serial robberies and everything, they ended up getting just what they deserved. If they didn't get a cold cell and a cold bed, they got an early grave. Look at some of these people who look at some of these people who attempted to set up somebody and then they ended up getting set up or they ended up getting unalive. Again, some people are going to fight for their property. Some people are going to do what's necessary, especially if they feel like they're in mortal danger. So you can't sit here and take that risk. It's like I said, look at that situation. Them dudes came in, thought they was just gonna walk in this dude's house and get an easy lick. That dude had to chop out and had everybody leaving out that house, running for their life. Like you couldn't even think to shoot because guess what? He was already started. The minute y'all try to kick in that door, he let it off. And that's in some instances you're gonna have to do that. Because we see what's going on right now. It's like it's getting too dangerous in certain scenarios. Nobody should have to worry about having to put a bullet in somebody just because they was trying to invade their property, basically, or basically just trying to do something that they felt they should have done. No. You can't do that. You don't know what scenarios you running into. For all you know, you think you going to invade somebody's house. That person probably got the best, if not alarm system. That sucker probably got everything booby trapped. If it's booby trapped, guess what? You in for it. I heard a story one time about dudes trying to break in somebody's house, and the minute one of them kicked that door open, that shotgun was booby trapped to the front door. Almost blew his whole intestines out. You know, it's people that are not playing games when it comes to their property. You know, and if they feel their property or even their well being is at stake, they're going to fight. That's what I'm saying. The time you spending, wasting, you trying to get an easy come up. You're not thinking about the damage that you are doing to somebody psychologically. Frugal mama baby. A person that has never had a gun put to their head or to their face and it actually happened to them, you don't know how they're gonna react. And then that starts right there the process. You know, that person might find out who it was and then say, you know what, I got it. Wait till I see this situation happen again. Young fellas, you have to be careful out there. If you see certain situations that just look too eerie, follow your gut. Somebody worried about too much of what you got and what items you got and so on and so forth, even if they're around you, you need to be careful. Exactly, serious. You know, but this is what I'm saying. Just think about that. Somebody who has never been a victim of those type of circumstances ends up becoming a victim. How you think it's going to turn out? There's some people who have been victims just one time and refused to come out the house because they was too scared that anything could have happened. Again, everybody's minds is different. Everybody's minds is not the same. Haley, what's going on, baby? And again, to think that, you think you're going to have fun with somebody and then this happens. And like I said, for all you know, those boys' families probably tied into the streets as well too. So you think at some point the streets ain't gonna talk? You don't think at some point somebody gonna find out what's what? Trust me, I've seen this happen. What's good, Joe? I've seen this happen. People thought they was gonna get an easy lick, come up, thought they was gonna get an easy Vic, and then that easy Vic turns into the one that ends up being the aggressor. Can't play around no more, you know. And you definitely can't take no chances. Again, you should be thinking all in all about safety aspect, not the lust aspect. I don't care how bad she may be. I don't care if she may think she's giving you the vibes. You better make sure those vibes is legit. Because anybody could be a good actor nowadays, you know. But again, just follow your gut. There's people who, prime example, I don't believe this person is telling me the truth about something. And it might seem weird to some degree, but some people have done the investigations. If they ain't got a close eye out around watching, let me go make sure this is not what's going on in general. You know? So, prime example, let me make sure I'm not getting played. Let me make sure this girl is who she is. 'Cause I'm sorry, there's some women who want to show their true side of everything. If it's only about money and only about some form of up upbringing, some gain, some notoriety, something. Trust me, they ain't gonna be for you. But they gonna end up getting their karmas too. You can't be a part of a setup because look at some of these people who were part of a setup that went wrong. Now all y'all sitting up in a hot ass fucking cell base. You know, messed up your life or whatever you could have been because again, you decided to do something you didn't need to, and it didn't pan out in your favor. That was just like one woman. I believe she was a part of a setup, and the fact that they was gonna let her go until they found out that person died. It says something. You think things can't happen. It could happen. You could, prime example, try to be set somebody up or rob them. They might have a heart attack, a stroke. They could go into some form of a whatever, and that be it. You gotta really be serious about that. Just imagine you think you about to rob somebody and get off, and they're having a heart attack as you speak in front of you. That's not cool. It's not cool at all. Again, young fellas, be careful of these women that you are being around. And again, make sure they not for the setups or for the grimy fuckery. I'm sorry because you don't want to have to go through what those young men went through or anybody has gone through. And again, you women too. Some of y'all think the men you trying to deal with ain't got nobody along the side. Yeah, all right. Like I said, you better start doing your research. Even if you gotta play Inspector Gadget and Hinge Eye Private Eye to make sure everything is everything, then you do so. You do a full background of somebody, especially if you know they're gonna be around you. You know? But it's sad though. And again, hopefully nothing did transpire outside of just that. You know, sometimes all you gotta do is check not just social media pages, but just check certain things in general. You know, again, if you think somebody could be dealing with somebody, do your research. 9 out of 10, you'll probably find what you're looking for in the right spots. You know, but again, it should never come to that at all. You know, everybody should be able to be out and about, enjoying themselves and enjoying and experiencing life. You know, thing about it though is slight changes from back in the day till now. What should be transpiring, prime example, is more communication, open line communication with your children, making sure that they are in the right spot. Some of y'all, you might have to track your kids because, again, you don't want to take that risk. There's too much going on as it is. We still got kidnapping, sex trafficking, and everything along those lines happening. But again, if you're going to bring children in the world, you have to be solely safe for them. Prime example, and now I'm going off to another topic. Last night, prime example, while I was at work, it's 3:30 in the morning. This is how you could tell these was young folks, and I mean extreme young folks. No, probably older than 13, 14. What are you doing out at 3:30 in the morning, busting and breaking bottles? Then when somebody looked at you, now you trying to pass blames on each other. Why would you do that? Oh, why would you do that? Like just doing certain child stuff. Vandalizing, number one. Two, you causing a commotion at this time in the morning. Three, what the hell are you even doing out at that time in the morning? Go home. I'm gonna say that to a lot of y'all young women out here, especially in the city. Y'all think it's a game until something happens. You forgot we're in a dangerous situation right now. We got migrants at hand. We got crazy folks and mentally challenged folks being kicked out on the streets left and right. They out and about running amok. And then look, things like this. We still got to worry about sexual crimes and sexual attacks, even on a late night. 3 Sun in the morning, ain't none of y'all big enough to fight anybody if a big person was to come down and run down on y'all. What y'all gonna do? But again, at 3 Sun in the morning, you running around, playing around, breaking bottles, and these is all females again. And this is why I'm saying you parents need to get your daughters in line. Your daughters should be in the house. Your son should be in the house. Ain't none of them working. Ain't none of them doing anything constructive. They don't need to be out late. There's nothing good about outside at 3 in the morning, especially when you're that young. God forbid it be a situation your daughter decide to want to hang out late with her friends, and your daughter don't come back home. We've had situations like that. I've seen a situation like that. Sometimes you young folks, especially the ones that's in school, y'all need to start doing a little bit better. Stop lying to just try to do whatever. Sometimes that thing you trying to do, being curious, will hurt you in the long run. Cutthroat, what's going on, my guy? And that's real raps right there. You know, your daughter decide they want to be out late, hanging out with friends, trying to be down with the clique, and God forbid something happen along that lines, right? What you think gonna happen? Of course, the parents are gonna be upset. They're gonna be enraged. Probably the people around gonna be enraged. Yeah, as most people in the community, you're gonna stand up because it shouldn't have happened in the first place. Grant that. But in the same token, your daughter shouldn't have been outside this late. Your daughters should not be out all hours of the night, especially when they ain't old enough again to buy a pack of cigarettes. They ain't even old enough to purchase liquor. Why are they out all hours of the night? No 12, 13-year-olds should be out that late. Your daughter ain't the victim of a sexual attack. She could have been the victim of an assault, period. She could have been the victim of a slashing, a stabbing, God forbid a shooting. And then what? That's another hurt household right now. That's another parent having to bury a child they shouldn't have to bury too early. It is time for y'all to start protecting y'all young kings and queens. And even if you're gonna be lenient, let them get some leniency and hanging out and about. Make sure they work with the right crowds. Make sure they're not getting into anything that could get them arrested or early grade. And definitely make sure they're not getting into anything that could bring or cause drama to your household. Your kids out there right now doing things even on the street level they shouldn't be doing, and the consequences do come heavy. That's just like you playing with the hustler or playing with the plug's money or running off on the plug. You'll find out what happens when you run off on the plug, especially if it's the plug that everybody deal with. You ain't gonna be here too long, or you're gonna be paying off a heavy debt, or they gonna try to do anything to get what they gonna get. It's not a game no more. There's people losing their lives just because of other people's madness. That's why I said you have to be careful. In this area, you definitely got to be careful, because it's not cool. It's not cool for kids to be out and about and then got to worry about either grown ups or even other teens setting them up for the kill. Life is too precious, but it's also too short too. Life is precious because again, you're supposed to try to enjoy every moment of life, make the best you can out of life. Life is not just gonna fall into your lap and everything be all hunky dory. Nah, you got to be a part of it. Be truth. What's going on, my guy? Again, just imagine how those young boys felt. And in other situations, imagine how these young women felt. Thinking they about to hang out, have a good time with somebody, and then it ends up being a robbery, or it ends up being some form of an assault, or in certain situations, it just be humiliation. There's stories of people thinking they about to get one off, and then guess what? They done been posted on the internet, or they done been out there on the internet, or if not that, they done been out in the general public. Gotta be careful. Because again, at that age, y'all should be in the fucking crib. I'm sorry to say it. That age, that young, y'all should be in the crib at that time. 2, 3 in the morning, the only people that should be out and about if you ain't in the streets are the people that's getting up to go to work, or the people coming home from work, or the people who are getting up early to set up what they're going to set up for their kids and their families. You're bugged out to have your young daughters out here wilding, doing things like the young boys will be doing. Like last night, them girls breaking bottles, acting a fool. Now, what happens if the cops was there? What you gonna explain to the cop when you just breaking bottles, doing something that you ain't necessarily have to do? You're causing a disturbance at this time in the morning. You could have, God forbid, wanting to break a bottle, you could have broke that bottle and ended up hurting yourself in the long run. And then what? Now you gotta go to the hospital. You done cut yourself open. You done got stitches. Y'all playing around just throwing them bottles up in the air like it was nothing. But if one of them bottles would have bust open upside your head, then what? Jewel, baby. I'm sorry, but you young folks, you have to start really taking heed to guidance. And again, some of you parents have to start teaching guidance and start teaching the proper protocols, especially when being out and about. Krishna, baby. Appreciate y'all. Happy Friday again to everybody that's pulled in. I'll drop the link in a little bit in case anybody want to chime in on the convo, because it's obvious that again we have things that need to be settled. Butterfly, baby. Again, this is the problem. You know, those girls was laughing at the situation that these dudes was about to get set up and robbed. God forbid if they would have got killed, then what? Now you're accessory to a murder, no matter how you look at it. If something like that goes wrong and somebody loses their life, now you're an accessory to a whole murder, a whole crime. Again, that's your life about to be at stake because you wasn't thinking. You was only thinking about the fast and the fast come up in the game right there. And then look what happened. That quick come up is now your life sentence. And some of y'all are too young. Some of y'all are not going to be able to face what you're going to be able to face. That wall. When you go up north, trust me, you better listen to those stories with some of those people who are talking about it. There's nothing fun about going from a county jail to upstate jail. Nothing good about that. Just because, again, you wanted to be a part of a scenario that you didn't have to be a part of. Some of y'all have to really start thinking for yourselves. Young men and women, definitely start using your brains and start thinking. Because the things you think is safe ain't safe. You want to take a travel with somebody you barely even know? Guess what? It'll be a downfall. I heard too many stories about that. So again, let's think about that. Parents, again, unless your children are doing something where it's constructive, they're working, they're on a sports squad or something along those lines, they shouldn't be out all hours of the night, period. At a certain time, your door should be locked. You should be having your eyes locked and making sure ain't nobody coming in and out your house that shouldn't come in there. Even if you, again, like I said the other day, you tuck in some family adoption wise or whatever, they need to respect the rules and regulations of the house. And I think that's a problem now to a degree. There's not too many households establishing the rules and regulations the way they're supposed to. What they are establishing, yeah, they're establishing some forms of discipline, but it's not working. And again, when they are sitting there watching everything the adults is doing, of course they're gonna right up in it. So I said you gotta be mindful of the things you do, you know, and definitely be mindful of the things you say. Again, they shouldn't be in your conversations. That's another thing. Some of these young folks is in your conversations like it's supposed to be all fun and games. It's not fun and games. It's not fun and games, especially when again you're too young to be worried about some of the things that the adults are doing. It is time for again y'all parents to start setting boundaries and start setting regulations when it comes to that. You don't want your child to be another casualty or another state number. Again, you better start telling them what you need to tell them and making sure that you're enforcing it. There's certain things you're gonna have to enforce because they gonna think it's a game if you just only do it once. That's just like prime example with some of the kids that's out for the summer. Granted, your kids are supposed to have fun, but they also still are supposed to learn. They are supposed to still make sure they're keeping everything up to code. They're reading, they're writing, their math, everything. Even the simplest math, you should be doing that. Like again, have a balance. Yeah, have fun with your kids, take them out to events and stuff like that. But still, you gotta educate them. Make sure they are taking their time to read and write and practice what they need to practice. Liz, what's going on, baby? You already know if y'all just tuned in, hit the like button. And if y'all new to the channel, like, share, comment, and subscribe. But again, you got to remember that part. They are still supposed to learn everything. I don't care how young they are. Just because it's summertime, that don't mean it's always going to be fun time. There's going to be days, prime example, if the weather's a little mixy, you're going to have to stay indoors. If you stay indoors, you better make sure that even if you want to have fun with them, you're still educating them in the same token. TVs and the damn devices ain't always going to teach. You got to teach. What do you know? What's in your mind? What knowledge do you still hold evident that's still useful to this day? A lot of people ignore those signs, but you can't ignore it no more because it's not fair for some that you're not even getting past a certain level in life, but then you want everything in life. You know, got to start making sure that they learning everything they need to learn. The most important basis is that they need to learn. Again, safety should be the number one thing out of all of it. Oh, again, like I was telling somebody, and I'm gonna say this again. Some of y'all need to just be around people that want you, people that accept you, not people that's just gonna tolerate you, and definitely not people who's gonna be fake with you. You know. And if you do got a core group like that, when some of them are trying to give you the best advice, take heed to it. Even if it don't serve you a purpose right now, still take heed to what's being said. Like even just on here, prime example, you gotta be careful on who you networking with and so on and so forth. But then again, if you're solely networking for a sole purpose, then certain things you don't really need to worry about. What you need to just be mindful of who's really for you and who's not for you. There's some people right now that's not here. Hey, nothing personal, nothing personal at all. But again, not everybody gonna be for you. Big homie, what's going on? What's going on? You know, that's what I'm saying. You have to be mindful in those situations. You know, think about it. Suppose if it wasn't, if she was on the other foot, now it's two women getting set up, guns to their head and everything. How you think they gonna feel? They're gonna be scared, just like a young man would be scared. He's almost about to you know, face that uncertainty, or almost could face that uncertainty. How you think they're gonna feel if they survive that? Their minds are gonna be warped to a degree. There's some situations where people have been a part of that setup, and then guess what? Now they coming out and they're doing everything under the sun. I'm gonna get the person that got me, and I'm gonna get anybody else I feel trying to get me. Like, who wants to live like that? And again, that's nothing to take away from. There's something you should be taking, and taking this as a growing experience for some. You know, some people have gone through that, and they've come out fine after a little bit of counseling, or just reassurance that everything is going to be fine. Some people, like I said, went on a straight tear after that. You know, so you have to be mindful on that. You definitely don't want to be a victim of that type of crime and that type of hate anyway. So you just got to remember that part. You know, when it's all said and done, you are going to be held responsible for your safety. I don't care if you're young or old. You're going to be the one held responsible for your own safety at this point. You know, start thinking more wisely. Again, if y'all ain't gonna have an equal meetup point or something like that, then I don't think that's somebody you should be having any dealings with. I'm from that old school era. Look here, I wouldn't care if I was just me. We gotta meet halfway somewhere. I don't trust you, and I'm not coming to your area, and you ain't coming to my area. And even still, I wouldn't want you to be a victim of a situation while you quote unquote trying to come see me. Young fellas, especially on this internet, young ladies, especially on this internet, be mindful and be careful that you're not being catfished. Because there's been situations where people thought they was coming out for a good time and never made it home. There's been a couple of them out here right now as we speak. People being catfished. They thinking they going out meeting up with these girls, and then they getting robbed by dudes, losing their lives because of that. So again, you gotta be careful. And young sisters too getting catfished. You know, in this era right now, we see that when it comes to the dating field, a lot of y'all are gonna be buzzing to this situation, social media dating. But even still, you got to be careful. Be careful on who you are dealing with. Make sure that if this is a person you're dealing with, you got to face up all of that, and make sure this is who they are. Not no fake profiles, none of that. Do your own investigative research. Again, if something don't seem right, even down to the slightest picture, oh nah, you got a problem. You know. And then there's some of y'all that are playing games to where it's like you're getting yourself scammed. You got to be able to peep the scam from a mile away. Period. You know. Again, for some of y'all, be careful about who you giving your information to, as far as the cash apps and stuff is concerned, because that's an easy way for you to get scammed. Easiest way for you to get scammed. And again, if things just look too good to be true, 9 out of 10 it could be. For that one time that it is true, you'll know it. And again, I think that's the saddest thing again right now, is that we got these young men and women out here all hours of the night thinking that they're grown. Some of them want to be grown ups so badly, but then guess what? You'll find out when you start getting to that age. Now you have to start paying bills. You got a car, you're gonna have to start paying that car note, that car insurance. You got a cell phone, You got to pay for that cell phone. You got cable. You got anything that you know you got to pay for monthly. Now that's something you have to work on. But again, it's also about just being within your means. Not everything has to be a scam. And again, for the melanated folks that need to hear it, there's no way you could tell me you feel comfortable with robbing your own brothers and sisters, setting up your own brothers and sisters, and you're not doing that same thing to the people who have oppressed you or who have done you wrong. It's like y'all have selective energy when it comes to that. In all honesty, the battle should be won. The battle right now is, us again pinned against each other. We could win that battle and end up reversing some of the cycles. But again, there's a lot of y'all that have to come to terms. You know, you should want to see great things. You should want safety, especially around your community. You should want safety around your household. Granted, the world is dangerous. Some things are going to happen. But again, if you're not prepared on any level, then sorry, you'll just be a victim of circumstance. Like these young men right here was victims of circumstance. They thought they had an easy thing with some women, and it didn't turn out right. Luckily nobody did lose their life, but it's the principles. You have to be careful. Like I said, certain business you discussing, especially with other adults, keep that amongst adults. Stop having these kids in your conversations. You know, certain things stop doing around them. You limit yourself to certain things because again, you got to think about bigger picture. Bigger picture is your children. Yeah, they're gonna have their own experiences, but again, certain experiences they shouldn't have to worry about until they of a certain age. Not gonna lie to you though. Um, Hopefully those young men will get the help that they need right now, because again, that's a scary situation right there to think about. But all in all, though, I just feel again when it's all said and done, I have to teach them the best forms of safety. There's some of you who are gonna have to teach your kids self-defense, whether you're gonna pay for them to get it or whether they want to learn from you. But they should learn some form of hand-to-hand combat. They should learn how to defend themselves in the event of situations. Again, execute an emergency plan and a safety protocol. Even if something could be happening in that gist of things, there will at least be on point to say, I know how to do this. I know who I can get in contact with. And I know just in case of anything, you know, the main people got me. And they're not going to let me down. I'm sorry, parents, but there's some of y'all who are going to have to really start enforcing what you need to enforce on your kids. Enforce a curfew. Because there's no way you can tell me you feel comfortable as any form of parent having your children well under the age of 21 or well under the age of 18 out all hours of the night. Keep it real with yourselves. God forbid something happens to your children in that late night, who you think gonna be responsible or help responsible? Nobody else but you, the parent, because you wasn't paying attention and you wasn't doing what was necessary. There's some people who have had incidents and they want to blame everybody, including society. No, you would have to blame yourself. Because if you were paying attention, your children wouldn't have got out, your children wouldn't have snuck out, your children wouldn't have lied to you. If you keep a form of strong communication barrier open with your young ones, they will never need to lie to you. They will never need to hide nothing from you. Period. It is something to think about though. But I'm not gonna hold y'all too long. I mostly just wanted to come in and just give that precaution tale again. Again, make sure y'all got the right people around you, even if you are planning on getting into certain scenarios. Still make sure you have the right ones that are going to be solid. You know, another thing I would say too is there's some of y'all that say that you ride or die for your friends, but there's some of y'all who really don't. You can't say you ride or die for somebody and then the minute something happens, you the first one running, you the first one bailing on everybody. That's not riding or dying. That's just running. Your main thing, especially if you deem people to be good friends, is keep them out of harm's way. And if harm does come their way, then you help them battle that harm, especially if it could be more than one scenario they deal with. I'm gonna use this movie as a prime example for some. For some that remember that movie Blue Hill Avenue with Alan Payne and them. You go to that scene when they was on the basketball court. Yeah, and they was all young and little, but guess what? They stood their ground. They fought them old dudes. They fought. And they actually gave him a good fight. You can't never be scared to try to stand on what you need to stand on. And if you got the right people with you, if they're ready to stand, you need to be standing well too. That right there is what you call camaraderie and real friendship, even a brotherhood. Because the rest of them could have ran. They look like they ain't have no wins over the bigger dudes, but guess what? They all still stood their ground. Win, lose, or draw, we're not leaving. And we're not going to continue to be the victims of anything. So again, you have to do that. But again, you just got to know who's really for you and who's really going to fight with you. Just because they say they might fight with you, that don't necessarily mean it's true. Be careful about who you say you ride or die for, because again, when it is time for that situation, it's only going to be a matter of if you're really going to do so or if you're just going to be a coward and run. You never leave your friends in danger, especially mortal danger. And we've had scenarios like that too. Kids being out and about, youngins being out and about, partying, thinking everything's smooth, the wrong type of situation happened. Somebody done overdosed, almost either lost their life or did lose their life. Or them probably went bonkers after that. And where were the friends at when all of this was happening? There's been people who went places thinking they was going to have a good time, been victims of a sexual attack. Friends left them. If you're not going to be in control of your liquor, if you're not going to be aware of your surroundings at any point during that time you're being inebriated, you need to think and stop before it gets too far. It's any further than that, forget about it. But all in all, though, just mostly just wanted to bring that precautionary tale for some. And also, just remember, for those who are out there doing things along that nature, again, Karma does come back. You can't continue to keep trying to harm people, especially with weapons, and thinking at some point it ain't gonna come back to bite you. It will. And it will bite you as hard as you think it's gonna bite you. At some point you might be the one biting the bullet. Don't forget that part. But again, for those who might just be tuning in, you know, take this as again another precautionary step. Make sure your kids, your teens, make sure that they are reading everything they need to read. Read the signs of danger, read the signs of uncertainty, and again, just make sure that they are preserving themselves at all costs. That's the whole thing of the game, preserving yourself. If you want things to happen, then again, you got to make it happen. And even when things are looking like they're going to turn south, you still got to have that faith and that strength to say, okay, you know, I still see something happening. I still see something great happening. See, with these talks, prime example, I still see something great happening. You know, it's bringing something different. Like I said, it doesn't matter if I revisited the subject more than once. The key thing is trying to bat it into the people's skulls that, again, you know, got to be able to incorporate safety at all costs. Have to. Again, you young ladies out there, be safe. Going to be out and about with people, make sure that you're in the safest spots, or just make sure you're around people that enforce safety. Try to get in the stories of young men and women that are not making it home, or that have been victims of foul play, or been victims of any of those things, because again, no real safety. No, nobody's taught them anything. Or what they were taught, they went against the grain for that one time. Didn't end up going good for them. Riaz, what's going on, my guy? Get in tune again. Parents, get in tune. Start checking your children's devices, your teens' devices. Make sure that they're not talking to anybody they shouldn't be talking to. Make sure they're not being scammed. Make sure they're not being catfished, hoodwinked, or anything along those lines. Make sure that everything is up to par. And if you feel it's not up to par, parents, then again, you have to do the investigative research on your own. Again, certain traumatic traumas, they will set people off the wrong way. Parents, start incorporating and implementing curfews. If you love your children that much, like you say you do, then they should be in the house well before those lights is on. Before those street lights come on, they should be home. They should be in the safe comfort of home. Should be no late night joyriding, late night running around the streets, late night anything. Late night should be for those who are adults. Period. When they're young, they need a vital balance. And that's even a balance on safety. Make sure your kids stay home. The kids don't need to be out. Keep them home. And for those who are new parents, I would tell you the same thing. Start teaching them young so they know what to expect come a certain time frame. This way it won't be too much. Won't have to worry about much. They pretty much took in what you gave them, knowledge. With that being said, I appreciate everybody that tuned in. Time for me to figure out lunch. For those follow me on Clapper, if I'm not in here by 6 o'clock on the dot, 7 o'clock the latest. Appreciate everybody that's been a part of the build, still becoming a part of the build, and appreciate everybody that has been tuned in for these conversations. Hopefully, y'all sharing it out. You know, always a blessing to bring something to the people. This is what we're gonna keep doing. If y'all was new to the channel, like, share, comment, and subscribe. Shout out to the replay gang. Shout out to the Shadow Mafia and the Shadow Babies. Y'all know what it is, baby. For everybody that was in attendance today, y'all already know that love is love and it'll be reciprocated as such. I don't know how to be fake. All I can do is give you real. That's all I'm gonna do is give you real topics and real builds. Again, I'm gonna revisit this conversation about safety. Parents, it's time for some of y'all to really start taking back what's yours. The power to raise your kids. The power to raise your kids the way you're supposed to raise them, not the way the system wants you to raise them. Keep that in mind. Because it's this scenario right here, one reason why we do have some of the situations we have now. You're allowing the system to tell you what to do as parents, when you should already be making the adjustments as parents to put your kids in the right boat, not become the victims of circumstances. Do what's necessary and do what's right. Trust me, it feels right. But y'all stay safe. Keep that third eye open. Oh, wait a minute. I can't leave out just yet. I forgot. I forgot. Before I get up out of here, I didn't forget about y'all birthday babies. I did not forget about y'all birthday babies. Hold on. Definitely did not forget about y'all. Hopefully y'all enjoy y'all weekends. Another year around the sun. You know, many, many more blessings to come. But y'all stay safe. Keep that third eye open. Until the next live, we out of here. Peace and blessings.